And we welcome you back to the latest edition of the Crustacean Nation Podcast on the Hickory Crawdads Broadcast Network. I'm Brian Rushing, the voice of your Hickory Crawdads. Throughout the course of this year, we'll be telling you stories about the people that make up the culture that is Hickory Crawdads baseball at LP Franz Stadium. When we return, we'll have our latest installment of the Crustacean Nation Podcast coming up on the Hickory Crawdads Broadcast Network.
You know the ones who give and then give some more? The brave ones who serve from the heart and choose love, who make untold sacrifice to help others get ahead, and who are always there when you need them. We see you, and we're celebrating you. To the ones who help make us exceptional, thank you. People's Bank. Be exceptional. Visit peoplesbanknc.com. Member FDIC Equal Opportunity Lender.
And we welcome you back to our latest installment of the Crustacean Nation Podcast. And for this one, I had to go north of the border. This was one that was requested by folks that tune into the games. And so I got curious. And I went down into the clubhouse. I had a couple conversations. And I was fortunately able to get Thomas Ireland to join me on this latest edition of the Crustacean Nation Podcast. Thomas, thank you for spending some time with me today.
Thank you for having me out.
All right, so I got to get started this way. This is the only way to really get this thing started. The first time that you pitched, I said, young man, left-hander out of Regina, Saskatchewan.
Mm-hmm.
And I got feedback because, well, you need to know how to say it.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah.
Thomas, I got to confess, I typically say Saskatchewan, which I'm not a native.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's kind of like Dalton Pence.
Yeah.
I would call it Cherryville.
Mm-hmm. Same here.
I've grown up in that county. I didn't grow up in Cherryville. That's why Dalton Pence can call it Cherville, and it's all good. How do you say Saskatchewan if you're a local?
Saskatchewan. So we would pronounce it the Saskatchewan, but it's W-A-N at the end. But we
That's how
say,
it's spelled.
Yes, spelled. But we say W-I-N. And
okay.
Usually anybody that's not from the province or out of country and they say it, we can tell instantly where you're from.
Okay.
Usually in the country by how you say it.
And folks in Cherryville can do the same thing.
Absolutely.
Because they know who the natives are.
Mm-hmm.
So Thomas Ireland, I'm going to ask you this question. Regina, Saskatchewan. I tried there, okay?
Yes, sir.
How did baseball, in a world seeming like the stereotype is, well, that's hockey country. How did baseball happen for Thomas Ireland?
I mean, growing up, my dad, he was a huge baseball fan, and he spent pretty much his whole life playing baseball, chasing baseball. He was fortunate enough to go spend a year down in Dickinson State in South Dakota.
Right.
And spent a year out there, and then ultimately didn't really work out for him, unfortunately. But that's kind of what he instilled in me from birth. And I mean, I've been really fortunate to have both parents that played some form. Like my mom played softball for a bit. So,
right.
But yeah, just having two parents that really loved the game, so it made me fall in love with it almost instantly. So.
Okay. So you came up from a family that really followed the game, appreciated the game, which to me does sound a little countercultural to what would be the hockey landscape up in that way, because
Absolutely.
that part of the world is typically hockey country.
Yeah.
But there's still a strong baseball presence in Canada. And some of the names that you obviously think of are names like Joey Votto, Larry Walker, et cetera, Ferguson Jenkins,
Yep.
even. What were some of the early Canadian influences for you? Who were some of the guys you really gravitated towards, said, these guys are from my homeland, I really like the way they play?
I mean, honestly, like some of the guys you said, Fergie Jenkins, obviously, being in the Rangers org, and him being a former Rangers pitcher, that's something that always kind of got brought up, especially me being a pitcher. Growing up, seeing Joey Votto playing Team Canada and all that, but my coach I have back home as well, him and I, Dust Mulliken, him and I are the only two from Regina, Saskatchewan to ever play pro ball. And Andrew Albers from Prince Albert, Saskatchewan. Those are really like the two big guys for me, especially pitching, that got brought up, not just nation-wide, but also province-wide in Saskatchewan. So,
I want you to tell me about T12. We've had a chance to talk about it a little bit, but this seems like, for you, the moment in your life to where you realize that, A, I want this bad. Mm-hmm. B, I think I can actually do it. Tell us about the T12 tournament, what it's about.
Yeah, so pretty much every year, the Toronto Blue Jays put kind of a tryout out throughout the country. They travel the country looking for the 150 best players in Canada. And then they fly them out to Toronto for the week, and you play a round-robin style tournament. Nothing really matters. Just kind of personal play, I guess, is kind of the only thing that matters. And then at the end, your all the games are held in Rogers Centre, played on the diamond there, and then at the end they have I think it's about probably 30 or 40 of the best players from the tournament make up the All-Star team, and then they kind of just divvy out innings and who plays where for how long. Kind of like the MLB All-Star game, like they'll sub guys out.
Sure.
Second inning or something. So, but yeah, that was a really great experience for me. Especially, not being the biggest guy growing up. It's been, it was a huge honor for me to go out there and not just represent myself and my family, but also represent Saskatchewan. It was a big honor, and something that, it'll always stick with me. One of my big accomplishments so far throughout my career. So.
Well, and it ultimately was one of the things that got you some exposure, mm-hmm. and you ultimately get an opportunity to sign with the Texas Rangers organization. However, along the way, there was a hiccup almost from the jump.
Yeah.
Kind of explain the signing and subsequently the surgery that followed your signing.
Yeah, so got drafted in the 13th round in 2021 out of a junior college in Florida that I was fortunate enough to go there. And, everything was really good in terms of the medicals, and then the only thing that kind of popped up was my left elbow. And so it was one of those things where it doesn't really feel real when it happens, but they're just like, hey, you got a grade 2 tear in your UCL. And honestly, for me, it felt like my career was done. But the Rangers, fortunately, had enough belief in me to still sign me, and but a week later after I signed, I was on a surgery table with Dr. Meister in Arlington, Texas, and he got it done for me, and then spent about 15 months doing the rehab and the recovery, and now I'm here and can't ask for anything better. So
one of the things that I find so interesting, because I hear this talked about, oh man, you go and get a TJ, you come back better than you were before. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's fine. Sure, if you do the work and everything and you can come back even better, that's great. But to say it that nonchalantly kind of gives me the indication you've clearly never had a TJ. No. There was a ton of work that you had to put in. You don't just show up on a Thursday and then you're back at it on Tuesday.
Yeah.
This is a long, arduous process. Kind of give us an idea of what it was like for you to go through this from the physical standpoint, mm-hmm. and sort of what you went through from the mental side also, because it's a grind anyway. Yeah. Coming back from an injury of this nature, mm-hmm. magnifies that grind. What was that like for you?
Yeah, it's really tough. Physically and mentally, especially when you're first out of surgery. I think the game now, it's moving in such a way where it's becoming more common, and people are seeing it as a more, easier surgery to get done now, and it's becoming more popular, but it's still something that's, super serious.
Sure.
Back, give or take 15 years ago, it was really 50-50 if you came back or not. So, but for me, it was, I was really skinny coming out of it. I was probably about 165 pounds coming out of surgery. So I think physically one of the biggest things for me was like I got to take this time to build my body up, get stronger, put on weight, and fortunately I did that. But also I think from the mental side, it's just whether or not you can trust it again, coming out of it, and just being like, can I still compete at a high level, and still make a difference on the diamond in the clubhouse. So
when was the moment that, because I hear about guys that have the surgery and they're like, there's almost like a mental hurdle of being able to cut loose and let it go and feel confident in doing that. Do you feel like you've gotten to that point? And if so, where was that point?
Yeah, I think now it's not even a question. It's something I fully trust and have for some time. I think coming back my first full year in 2023, it was a little bit difficult, I think, at the start because it was like I don't know what I can fully do with it just yet. Obviously, it not being tested in games and stuff, and throwing for a whole season, it's definitely difficult. But I think, honestly, for me, I know some guys are different, but for me, it's just one day I just kind of woke up and I'm like, I trust the surgery, I trust what I've put in the training room, and I trust what the athletic trainers have done to get me to this point. I just got to go out there and do what I know how to do, and that's pitch.
Okay, so I'm glad. That's a great segue. Thomas Ireland is what kind of pitcher? You give me the scouting report on Thomas Ireland.
Well, I've been compared to like a Cliff Lee, Tom Glavine, kind of. I'm not going to blow you by with 98, but I think my specialty is being able to mix, keep hitters off beat, and vary timings and get weak contact and be able to locate the ball where I need and where I know how to do it. So,
and that's becoming less and less of a thing nowadays. I mean, it seems like that everybody has on their business card, I throw 98.
Yeah.
And like that's almost like that gets you into the game. But
yeah.
you're a bit of a throwback. I mean, you name names like Tom Glavine and Cliff Lee. Those guys were changing velocity, changing sight lines for the eyes, all that kind of stuff. Do you see anything from your perspective that might give you a different insight or a different angle as opposed to the guy that comes out there 6'4", 245 and just 98?
I don't necessarily know about insight. I mean, for me, I'm not really trying to come out and blow it past you. Obviously, there's times where you kind of ramp up on a pitch, right? And advantage counts, but I think different insights for me would just be going out there and trusting my game plan.
Okay.
I know what I have to do. I know the pitcher I am and the pitcher I need to be, and I think not losing sight of that is probably the biggest key for me, and probably what I think sets me apart from, say, a guy that throws 98. Not saying that guys that throw 98 have anything going bad for them, but I like to stick to my game plan and go out there and know and trust that I know what I need to do and be the pitcher I need to be. So,
Thomas Ireland here with us on the Crustacean Nation Podcast. Okay, Thomas, so Hickory, brand new to Class A baseball in the Rangers organization as far as the Carolina League is concerned. So we're back to A-ball in the Rangers organization, but we're doing it in the Carolina League. This is your first run in Hickory. What do you think about the town?
Honestly, everything so far has been extremely positive. I'm fortunate to have my wife Jessica out here with me as well. So, I mean, we love the town. I mean, we don't come from necessarily a very big town in Canada either. So, Hickory makes us still feel very much at home, but also that we're starting a new chapter in our lives. And being able to come to the LP Franz every day and see the fans and see all the people that are really passionate about baseball here. It's great. I love coming out and signing autographs for everybody that wants it.
And you're doing it in shorts and not parkas.
Yeah.
So that certainly helps. So then the next question I've got to ask is, when you get back to Regina, okay, do you freeze instantly, or is there still enough Saskatchewanese in you that you're able to, okay, yeah, I can handle this, no problem, or does it begin to okay, it's time to check out?
Yeah, usually by the time I'm getting home, it's kind of cooling off a little bit.
Okay.
It's still warm enough where you'll get the occasional day where it's nice enough to wear shorts and a t-shirt, but usually the nights are getting a little bit chilly at that point. But I think it's nice enough to where it gives you kind of a transition period. So you kind of get used to a little bit of the cold that happens, but it's still warm enough where you're kind of in that middle ground. And then usually about end of October, it's starting to get cold and blizzardy and stuff like that. So.
And then it's time to head to Arizona.
Yeah, usually I don't mind it for a bit.
Okay.
And then after that, it's let's get back to spring training. Let's get back to AZ, see some heat.
There you go.
No snow.
So for folks in Hickory, if they were thinking about Saskatchewan, they're probably going to have, they're probably thinking polar bears. No polar bears in Saskatchewan.
No, I'm not quite that far.
Right, but give us, around these parts, if a bear ended up in town, just your standard black bear, ended up in town, it would make the news, okay? But in Regina, what kind of animal, if it rolled through town, would get the town folks talking?
Anything. Saskatchewan or Regina is about 250,000 people, so it's a fair-sized city. But anything that's really not, you're a dog or something coming through the city, it still makes news. So I think last week or something I saw back home we had a brown bear.
Okay.
Crawled up a tree and they tranquilized it and took it outside the city and all that. But I think the weirdest one that I've seen in the city is a moose.
Okay.
It's just
okay.
You don't see them.
So a take on northern exposure.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yep.
Okay. Now you told me an interesting story about at the home. Porcupine?
Yeah. We've got a couple of dogs at home, and dogs being dogs, we have a fair sized yard for them to go run and do stuff, and it was weird because the one day he runs back into the house and he's got all these quills in his face and stuff, and we're like, what is going on? And there's a porcupine just rolling through the back alley, and we're like, oh well. There we go.
That explains that.
That explains that situation. Sure.
Yeah.
But he's all good.
Thomas Ireland, thank you for spending some time with me on the Crustacean Nation podcast.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Black Tie Transportation is the official transportation company of your Hickory Crawdads. Black Tie Transportation gets your crawdads to every Carolina League destination in comfort and style. College and pro teams across the Carolinas trust Black Tie Transportation for their travel needs. Find out how Black Tie Transportation can get your group to their next travel destination safely and professionally at blacktieTransportation.net. That's blacktieTransportation.net. And again, we want to thank Thomas Ireland for joining us on the latest installment of the Crustacean Nation Podcast, and we're so glad that you joined us for the latest edition of the Crustacean Nation Podcast. We look forward to seeing you at LP Franz Stadium real soon. For everyone with the Hickory Crawdads Broadcast Network, this is Brian Rushing saying so long. We'll see you next time. Hickory Crawdads Baseball, abide by the claw.
In the cool Catawba River mist, there's excitement in the air. From Lake Hickory shores across Unifor, it's spreading everywhere. From the young folks to the old folks, it's a feeling they can't hide. Since the Crawdads came to Hickory, this whole town's filled with pride. Hometown baseball, it's got a hold on me. Give me Crawdads baseball, Hickory's own #1 There's an old rebel spirit in every part of France, state of young. So let's stand and cheer, cause the dads are here and the fight has just begun. And to those who should oppose us, well, let them know this law. When you tangle with a crawdad, you're gonna feel the claw. Hometown baseball, it's got a hold on me. Give me Crawdads baseball, Hickory's own number one hometown baseball team. So come out to the ballpark for some good old-fashioned fun. Join your friends and family, the good times have just begun. Hometown baseball, it's got a hold on me. Give me Crawdads baseball, Hickory's own number one hometown baseball team. Hickory's own